It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Scent Hunting Sense,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Twisted Minds Bowstrings,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Antler Action,
and Family Traditions Tree Stands.
And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams, sitting in a warm cabin tonight with Dan DeFaw as he one finger types away over there. What's going on?
Not much. What's happening with you? Hey, everybody out in Facebook land.
Right. I'm trying something a little different here, so I'm going to try to monitor from over on this side. Let's see how this works.
Right.
See if I can.
Tony Smith is on, Lincoln Rohn, Michael Adams, just all filing into the cabin.
All right. Well,
did you have a good week?
I had a busy week.
Yeah.
Officially, Hell Week is 2 weeks are over for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So
no, it was a pretty busy week.
Yeah.
I was able to get away for a couple of nights. That was good.
Yep.
Went and toured the state, kind of.
Did you?
Just a couple of places, Mount Pleasant and West Branch. And then...
so you give somebody some money, I take it.
Yeah, a little bit. Right? So, went over to Lansing on Friday for work. And yeah, everything's good.
Been shooting the bow?
I was shooting, I shot Thursday night. Did pretty good. So I was kind of
We'll talk
happy
about that here a little later in the show, because we got a special guest on, and I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to talk with Lincoln Rohn.
We always got to make time for our special guest, because we're going to give him the floor and let him run, and he's probably going to be in marathon speed.
All right. Hey, Lincoln, you on with us?
I am.
Hey, what's going on, Lincoln?
How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. You're looking good there. I got you up in the double box here, doing another little live stream, and
all right.
You got a nice buck there behind you. You've been a busy man here the last couple of weeks.
I have been. Got a lot going on.
Right. Well, we wanted to talk with you a little bit tonight. We do know that the NRC meeting or the public forum was Thursday, and your group had a lot of people there, but there was a lot of stuff that was going on. And could you just kind of break it down in simple terms of kind of what went on there and any progress that was being made?
Oh, man. Well, unfortunately, I was not able to be there. Mm-hmm. I had a work obligation come up, and I just was not able to be there. My boss was gone, and another guy had a scheduled day off, and so I went to watch the live feed, obviously, and we had 4 of our moderators from Michigan Deer Hunters Let 'em Go, Let 'em Grow were there, and Chad Garlinghouse spoke, and so basically what happened, they had kind of reviewed everything that the DNR had proposed to the NRC, and it just kind of a recap. So, and then basically as the meeting went on, there was tons of people that were speaking in support of antler point restrictions, and so I mean it was really phenomenal how many people spoke in full support, and there was very few that were against it.
And this was the last public meeting, correct? Before everything comes out.
Well, yeah. I mean, they'll be voting on it in August, and so there'll be one more opportunity for public comment before they actually take the vote. So, but this was a big one, and again, unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there, so it just it killed me not being there. But the I mean, it was, we were very well represented, no question. I mean, there was just a lot of support. Some very heartfelt testimonies, for support of APRs and why people, wanted to, have them implemented. So, I mean, it was cool to listen to, and unfortunately, go ahead.
What was it more? Did you happen to see or know if there were more just general public hunters? I mean, I know you Let 'em Go was well represented. We also had, some QDMA branch members or leaders, branch leaders that were there speaking, and even Kip Adams himself.
Yep, Kip was there.
But was there more what we call just your average, everyday hunters out there that came to this and spoke as well?
Yeah, there were several. Just people that testified in support. So I would say, and again, I'm going by memory because I watched it live, and then I did go back and kind of review it a little bit. But yeah, there was quite a few. We had, it was awesome to see Kip Adams there. I could listen to that dude talk all day long. I mean,
right. He was smooth, man.
Yeah, he's just a great speaker, and his delivery is incredible. And so, I mean, it's just a pleasure to listen to him. And QDMA, we had several guys from QDMA that were there testifying, from co-op leaders to members. It was funny, the crossover from QDMA to our members. I think everybody that spoke was part of our group. So including Kip Adams himself, he's a member. So our state was well represented. And
you had some co-ops there. There was a group there that were wearing all orange.
Yep.
And you could just see there was a couple views from the back. You could just see the amount of people that was actually there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what was the, I guess, the overall consensus? I mean, how well was the message being received from the hunters this time by the board?
Well, I thought it was being very well received throughout the meeting, and I mean, they were asking some questions. I felt like they were tuned in. So Chad Garlinghouse is one of our moderators. He spoke basically, kind of from the heart as a not as a just as a hunter,
right?
And he did a fantastic job, and they were listening, and it was his birthday, so he kind of got their attention with his opening, and then his dad, Rick Garlinghouse, spoke and shared his 40 some years of hunting experience, and where he's been and where he is now. And the fact that he travels because he needs, he has a desire to harvest bigger and better bucks. And Tony Smith spoke. He always does a fantastic job. There was just a lot of support, and very, very few spoke out against it. And of course, the ones that spoke out against it were the ones that are there barking against it every month. Sweeney was one of them. And basically Sweeney's put out a paper here recently with his opinion piece, and he misrepresents data as usual, and used percentage points instead of actual numbers. And Jim Brocker then promptly
corrected him, and we obviously got that to the NRC as well. So they had correct information, not data that was used to further somebody else's agenda that was skewed. So, do you looking at? I mean, you talking about percentages and actual numbers and that. I heard something this week. I'm going to kind of chase a rabbit here, and I actually haven't even discussed this with Danny yet, but it came from the line of baseball, and people were talking about how the numbers are dwindling in people that watch baseball. Kind of like, and I thought, well, so we're losing hunters every day. And they said it was basically the guys and gals who were 45, 50 and older is the main part of the people who watch baseball. I go, wow, that's kind of like hunting. Same thing.
Right.
We're dealing with. And they were talking about how they were trying to get more young people into the game. And then I started thinking, they talked about analytics, and I thought, well, that's interesting. What about, getting these youngsters? They're always into the computers and, digging into things really deep in the analytics, and we're giving them science. But is that, do you see that as the way to reach this younger generation and give them something to latch onto? And maybe that's why we do happen to see some of these younger people that are more interested into the actual numbers and the science behind what we're doing, how you shoot the right doe, buck to doe ratios, and what happens when things get askew. I mean, do you think there's any validity to that?
Yeah, there's no question that our younger hunters are way more tuned in today we have incredible information right at our fingertips. I mean, they're tuned in. They've been raised, I mean, in the green, the green generation, we'll call it. And, they want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Right. And when they're seeing, and you can, social media, love it or hate it. I mean, I'm here to tell you, it gets the word out to people, and they don't want to. I mean, they see all the everybody doing, habitat work and food plots, and they're passing up bucks, and this is it's almost like a fever that's catching on. So, I mean, the problem is we've got this. This core group. I think our average hunter in our group out of 30,000 is, I believe it was like 34, and the average Michigan deer hunter is like 54.
Okay.
I mean,
so the social media side of it, we are seeing younger numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're tuned in to what's going on, and I have a lot of access to younger hunters between my my two sons and my two nephews and all of their buddies, and these guys they're all about it. And even right from the start, I mean, I told my boys, your first buck, you can shoot whatever you want. I mean, we're not going to hold you back. And so right. Both of them passed up bucks. I have them on video over their shoulder passing up 4 points, and they had the green light. They could have shot them.
Right.
Justin even, matter of fact, I watched it not that long ago. Justin even put the gun out the window, put the crosshairs on the deer just so that he could, I definitely could have shot that deer and I didn't. Well, then 15 minutes later, a beautiful 8-point comes in, and, actually 2 8-points came in. He's like, Dad, which one do I shoot? Because those are definitely shooters. I said, well, first one that you get a shot at. Nice. Whatever one steps out first, hammer them. So, so these kids have been, I mean, that was on them. That wasn't. Of course, I was encouraging them, but sure. it was their call for their first buck. And
that goes back to you mentoring education. That goes back to the whole education part of this. That the younger crowd is more into that, the social media, the educational part, the numbers part, and so. Like with my daughter, right?
Right.
She had a single tag, but she was kind of abiding boy of what I have in the UP.
Right.
So she opted to wait on some spikes and stuff that she could have shot with a bow.
Right.
Then she ended up getting a 6-point. So it's for Lincoln and I and yourself. It's all that education we pass on.
Yeah, my kids have passed up on small bucks as well.
And that goes back to what Kip said. I remember watching a little bit of the video. What Kip in educating.
Right.
Education.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that the department is failing to realize is that, we have a member base of 30,000 people, in Michigan Deer Hunters Let Them Go and Let Them Grow. And, it goes way beyond that. I mean, if you haven't heard of our group in Michigan, you're pretty much living under a rock. I mean, right. Seriously, you have got, so, we post something, or we do a live feed or something, several thousand people see that video or that post, and then they tell 5 people, and it goes on and on and on. And so, I keep talking to, a conversation I had with Commissioner Walters. I had a great conversation with him week before last. It was over an hour, and I just said, he's on our side, by the way. He gets it. The guy could be a moderator for our page, for crying out loud. He's all about it, and he understands that APRs work. But I said, we're wasting so much time and energy on trying to get APRs implemented to make the state a better place to hunt, that there's so many things other than that we could be doing to help the department as far as, youth initiatives and, hunter outreach. And, it's going to be way more well received coming from us than it would be from the department,
right.
With this doe harvest and stuff. I mean, we can be champions for this doe harvest. I mean, we understand that, we have to, in a lot of areas of Michigan, we have to lower the deer density. There's no question about it. But in return, we're asking for better buck hunting. I mean, that's right. I mean, it's as simple.
I think it goes down to exactly what is mainly recognized and I guess, the thought of when the DNR speaks, nobody listens.
Yeah, nobody listens. It's the opposite of B.F. Hutton.
You know, they do. Yeah. There's that case of suspected CWD in Jackson, and how many theories are
conspiracy theories are running rampant, you know,
and it's like
justified or unjustified, they are, and it's because nobody trusts them. So
well, if they're going to put out a piece of toilet paper like they put out for the proposal, that's what's going to happen.
Well, that's it, right? And then all of a sudden they got to send a guy out for damage control, saying, "Well, that really wasn't what I meant." Mm-hmm. Well, hold on a second, you should have done it the first time.
Yeah, we only want to shoot down the deer herd 10 or 15%, not which is not the case. Mm-hmm. They're talking about having it. Well, that's not 10 or 15%. So, what's it going to be? Let's and I'm sure other people have thought of this, but I started pitching this, this idea about the app, and I don't know if you guys have heard that or not.
Oh yeah, yep. I like the idea.
So why can't we do this? I mean, really, honestly, why can't we use the technology that we have at our fingertips? Okay, we have somebody make this app, and it can be designed for only doe harvest or whatever they want. But so what we're really wanting is county by county DMUs now. Not we go back to the county by county so that and I'm just going to use Newaygo County as an example because that's where I hunt. So I'm just going to use it as an example. Okay, so now let's say we want to up the doe harvest. Okay, if they want to truly up at 15%, then let's bring up our quotas. Right. Say maybe 25%. Right. Because that not all the tags are going to get filled. Right. So let's bring that quota up to 25%, which would be I had the numbers in front of me for 17 or for 16. It was 5,000 some odd does. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we bring that up 25%. People, the general public's going to know what that number is. Okay, you shoot a deer, you go take your smartphone and you scan the tag because there's barcode on the tag. You send it to the department. They'll immediately they'll know where it was shot, when it was shot. They can track it. There can be a bar graph per county on this app that tells you exactly how many deer have been shot, does have been shot, and are we getting close to the goal or are we not getting close to the goal? Right. And if we don't, say the end of gun season hits and we're still 1,000 animals short, then by gosh, let's put it out there and maybe we have a late season then. Right. I hate late season. Don't get me wrong. I don't like them. But if we're not shooting enough does and we have to, and this is the target. If the target is reasonable and attainable, that's the key. And it's not perceived as just wiping out our deer. Because I'm telling you, what they've just proposed is not being well received at all. So with the app, they would know where they're at. And then even if, say we hit that quota, we're going to hit that quota. Why couldn't you expire the doe tags then?
Right, exactly. You have seriously. You have the computer technology to do it, to lock out. See, and I think you're right, Lincoln, which is a good idea. But they're going to have to change their thinking, though, because what we do now is DMUs. We need to change it to county by county.
Right. And that's the key. To me, that's the key, is we have to shrink these because – and I was just talking to a guy called me the other day. He was upset with me too again. So he messaged me and asked me to call him because the written – I've learned through this that the written word doesn't always work. Mm-hmm. Voice to voice is by far better. So I talked it through with him, and he's like, "Well, I really wasn't understanding that whole thing." And I said, "Listen, I understand the fact that one county, it could even go county. I mean, you can't do this, but it could be half a county, right? Because it could be 5 miles down the road, might not need any doe shot, but people are going to have to use their heads also and go, look, I don't have a lot of deer. Maybe I won't shoot seven does, right? Or 3, So that it's going to have to kind of be on them, right?
Right, exactly. That's the education part.
And that's where the art. We can help with education. We already have. I mean, you can't believe how many people. All the moderators, myself, we get messages all the time. Hey, thanks for what you guys are doing. I used to shoot every deer that the first buck we saw, but we're not anymore. We're passing bucks up just because of you guys and in the information that you put forth. And that it obviously makes my day. But we are making a difference and. the problem that we're seeing is, and a lot of people struggle with it, and I hear it all the time, I would support antler point restrictions, but I don't practice them now because I'm afraid if I pass that buck up, somebody on the next ridge is going to shoot it.
Right.
And Chad Garlinghouse alluded to this in his presentation to the NRC. They don't do it out of fear.
Right.
So you've got, even if we have 60% of the guys out there hunting that are willing to pass up bucks, you got that 40% that are laying them out.
Right. Yep.
They're having the best years of their lives because they're willing to shoot anything. So they're going, heck yeah, guys, pass all these bucks up. Pass every single freaking one of them. We'll shoot them. So we have to have a mechanism in place to make sure that the majority of the hunters are being heard and are being able, and listen, a 3-point on an APR is not a big deal.
Right.
It just isn't.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Right.
So, they always say they're extreme APRs. They're not extreme. I'm just asking that, even down here, you can shoot a year, technically you could shoot a 1.5 well 7-point if you wanted to.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So it's not a big deal, and it could just go a really, really, really long ways in encouraging guys to shoot does, because the minute you take their ability to shoot two bucks off the table or even one small buck off the table, they're going to shoot a doe.
Right.
So if it's going to shift, what the other thing that we have to do as a population in Michigan, as hunters, we have to make shooting does cool. Seriously.
Amen.
You know what? That's exactly
Seriously.
right. Instead of the down.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you down, you shot a doe.
Yeah.
Well,
Right. Let's have
shot something.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna have we got to make it just as cool to shoot a doe as it is to shoot a buck, because let's face it, shooting an old matriarch is pretty dang tough. And so let's have a doe bragging board.
Yep. Exactly.
We're gonna have one on the page this year. We're gonna have a doe bragging board. Well, unless they implement this proposal, because I won't shoot a doe if they do.
Right.
So I ain't doing it.
Right.
I'm sorry.
But I tell you what, let's step outside, take a quick break, come back. I got a question for you I want to throw at you here.
And we got some comments.
And we got some comments as well. So we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets, or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back, second segment of the show. Sitting here talking with Lincoln Rohn. He is chilling out in his cabin over on the western side of the state, talking a little bit about the deer hunting and deer, let them go, let them grow, and the APRs and the
what's
NRC
going on
meeting.
And things I want to welcome back Dave Wilkins and his daughter.
Yeah, they just got back from overseas.
Hunting Africa for a month.
Yeah,
so we'll have to get him on the show and find out how that went. Some of the comments coming through right now for Lincoln. Billy Hoffman, I'm not a computer whiz, and could make that app if they could do it. Same. It's that easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dean Smith, Alaska has a call-in system. There's another option we could use.
Right.
And like we were talking in the break, DNR does it for sturgeon.
Right.
Right. I think what Dino's saying is the calling system that Alaska uses that, and I think they shut their tags down, is what he's saying.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But with an app, hunters could literally watch the bar graph climb. Here's the target number.
And then once they hit their quota, what's not to say shut it down and send out an alert. Hey, DMU blah 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 is now closed.
It's closed. Boom. Yeah. Don't shoot any more does.
And they got a timestamp of when that's out. And like you said, Lincoln, they could run a 24-hour grace period or something.
Sure, you got to have something in there. Yeah.
You know, and say, hey, okay, you were out in the woods, you didn't have service, blah blah blah.
Right.
But it's so at their fingertips,
right,
and they can't grasp it.
Right.
Yeah, and it could be a huge. I mean, it could go right along, and that's the other thing. You know what? It would bring some transparency to the system, and people would be engaged. You know, they'd be part of it. You know, they would be part of it. They wouldn't just be being told what to do. It's like, okay, this is our goal.
That is a great one, Lincoln. What was back in the day when you'd have these camps? That was one of the big things. Some of these. You'd go to the local buck pull. They would, that was a thing to do, to be a part of the hunt.
Right.
You know, here you are. Okay, I can't make it, but you know what? I just shot a doe. I'm part of the hunt by getting my information in and helping out. You know, with technology today, we can get back to that. You know, the Hunter's Orange Army heading up on the 14th, right? Like back in the day when my dad and away they went.
Right.
You
know, something I heard at the meeting, or I heard through the grapevine, somebody was talking about, some of the commissioners were saying, well, you've got a co-op, you're already practicing this, so why do you want it statewide? And you said something about the reason some people don't practice APRs or want to because they're afraid their neighbor's going to shoot it. And that's the thing that I think they're missing, is the fact when we have, like at my place, we're working, trying to get our co-op up and running. We're working on deer management. But when you've got people that don't play in that same ballpark, start shooting deer, they shoot the legs out from underneath your program.
Right.
And you have no control over that.
You have no control.
So, we're practicing it, but if you don't help us achieve it, then the whole bottom of it can cave in.
And what happens, too, is let's say, co-op, whatever, and all of a sudden they get on board and say, hey, we're going to do this. All of a sudden you can almost get like the peer pressure effect. Hey, it's now statewide. The co-op's doing it. Here's this little area that's not doing it. You guys might want to get on board.
Right.
Yeah, it's I don't like to use the term peer pressure but it's a real thing. Guys see the successes that are that other people are having, and all of a sudden, you know what? They want to have a piece of that success, and they're going to maybe step up their game a little bit. And it's just without it being statewide, your co-ops are they're like spitting into the ocean. Okay, they're a great thing. Don't get me wrong. I think co-ops are fantastic, but it's such a small out of the 84 million acres that we have in wooded acres in Michigan. It's like, I think it's like a couple 100,000 acres that are under QDMA co-ops. So I mean, they're great, and just think of how great they'd be if we had statewide APRs.
Yeah, well, and then you got the state land hunters as well, because that's not a co-op, that's state land. So.
Right, and they have state land hunters should be doing backflips for this because they have no way to manage their deer.
Right, exactly.
They don't. They don't. So, by putting a simple small regulation in place, listen, I use this all the time. You guys have heard me say it. Michigan upped the bass limit from 12 to 14. People lost their freaking minds for about a year. And all of a sudden, oh, man, Michigan is now a world-class bass fishery.
Right.
Huh. I wonder how.
What's one of the whether it's bass or it's walleye? What do they come to Saginaw Bay for?
Right.
Yeah.
It's that effect. Jim Bogma on the live feed says less than 5% of the available land is in co-ops.
Right. And again, they're fantastic. I'm not dogging them at all, but it's just a tiny. And again, it's like spitting in the ocean and expecting this big, expecting the level to rise. It's not going to, except for we're in that little tiny blurb of an area. So, and they'll continue to grow, and they'll continue to grow with APRs. And again, they'll be that much better with antler point restrictions because you won't have guys around the fringe shooting, your yearlings. So,
well, looking at kind of what went on Thursday, getting back to that whole meeting and everything.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that there was a couple of how did you say it? Some recommendations or
amendments.
Amendments, yes.
Yeah.
To what they were wanting to do.
Yeah. So Commissioner Slayball, Rex Slayball, Commissioner Slayball, requested to amend the one amendment to the proposed DNR package, and that was to add antler point restrictions on both tags within that 13 area core surveillance area. Okay. There's a core and there's a surveillance. So he requested that there be an APR put in place in those 13 counties. So, and then he left that new, because that Jackson County one was so new, he left that to the department's discretion, whether they wanted to put it in there or not. So he as quickly as he asked for antler point restrictions, because he realizes that if we're going to reduce the deer herd that much in that area, guys are going to have a reason to hunt there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, and advertisers understand that big bucks sell products, right, in the promise of big bucks. So guys are going to hunt there if there's an opportunity to shoot, a great opportunity to shoot better bucks. Mm-hmm. If you shoot, I'm not going to say have, because that's not going to happen. If they shoot down the deer herd in those areas, guys are going to have a carrot, mm-hmm, and bigger bucks is that carrot, right, and more bucks. So otherwise, the same thing's going to happen that happened in the TB zone. I mean, those guys up there, I tell you what, they're not going to destroy their deer herd again. They're not going to. They won't do it. So in order to keep guys happy and engaged hunting under lower deer densities, they're going to have to implement some sort of an APR to keep guys hunting there. Otherwise, they're not going to hunt there, and the deer herd is going to explode. So that Rex asked for that proposal to be amended to add APRs for the 13 counties, and then just as quickly as he asked for it to be APRs to be added, Commissioner Tracy asked for it to be amended to remove all antler point restrictions from both tags.
Okay, so is this a case of infighting right on the panel as you're watching this happen, or is this just not listening?
I don't know how, Mr. Tracy, if you're watching, I don't know how you could have sat through all that testimony in front of you and then went, screw those guys. I want to take APRs, any thought of APRs off the table in the CWD zone.
But you're,
my eyes glazed over at that point.
But a guy sitting just a couple feet away said, "Hey, let's put him in the CWD zone."
Right. And how in the world did you not just listen to hunters? Dozens of hunters come before you and say, we as hunters recognize the fact that, almost everybody recognized the CWD threat and the fact that this could be, they have to do something. We get it. We understand that. But you can't just go in and wipe out the deer and expect guys to continue to hunt in that area. You can't.
They don't know if so-called wiping out the deer is the answer, though. That's the problem.
No, that's
been tried. It's been tried in other places and hasn't worked.
Right. You can try as you might, but I don't think it's and
right.
Even
so, reducing deer density, and so Commissioner Tracy, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know if it was a, like you said, if it's infighting with those, with those two, or what the deal is. And he is locked into this proposed, or to the process, okay, the process that's in place for APRs. Well, Commissioner Tracy, the process shouldn't even be on the table anymore when we're talking about CWD, okay? We shouldn't. If we're going to use that as a tool to combat the disease and to keep it from spreading and to keep hunters engaged, because without hunters, you cannot do this. You can't sharpshoot your way out of this. You can't do it. So I'm at a loss of words as to why he would do that. And
especially when the guy 5-10 feet away said, right, let's put him in. What's going on here? You're telling me you guys can't even, they can't even sit in the same meeting and wait at least.
I thought I was watching Congress for a minute. What the heck?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
And so then one other, listen, I don't want to get into a baiting discussion, because I'm just not willing to go down that. I'm not going to fall on a sword,
right,
for some corn. But there's been a request. I think then Commissioner Crumbaugh requested to have it amended to allow baiting 2 gallons of shelled corn, I think, everywhere with exception of the 13 counties. So
the CWD counties.
Yeah, the CWD county. So
including, I don't know what TB zone. Would that include the TB zone or no?
No.
Okay. So any place where there was a disease issue?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I'd have to go back and listen to the exact. I did review it, but like I said, my eyes glazed over as soon as Tracy did what he did. So
that's what Kip Adams even said it as a QDMA person. Mm-hmm. Their stance on baiting was okay, but if there is a disease element in the area, then we agree
to remove it.
Remove it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So
Well, and let's face it, whether you hate baiting or hate baiting, okay, and we use feeders in conjunction with our food plot program for supplemental feed, during the season. I don't really consider it baiting. I guess it is. It's, I guess we'll call it what it is. It is baiting. But when you throw 2 gallons down and you can control it with a feeder, you can measure it, it's exact. And that corn is gone by dark,
Yeah, it is.
And so I guess I don't see a huge deal. And here's the thing: if they are gonna keep baiting, then they need to keep it at 2 gallons. Then they need to implement and this goes to our legislature, who Tristan Cole is a big supporter, and he's fighting hard for us. But this is something that he could probably do. But we need to implement a fine system that hurts. Okay,
right,
because and maybe you even lose your privileges for the rest of that season or something. Because the last time they outlawed baiting. In 2008, we were the only ones that were abiding by the law within 5 square miles, and nobody else missed a beat. And there we sit staring at trees. And
all the deer have gone.
Right, because they'd feed. What they were doing is they were hitting our food plots all during the week,
right.
And then when the guys would come in for the weekend and throw out their truckloads of sugar beets or bags of sugar beets, whatever, then they were going
the deer
away
went to
from
the
our
candy
food
store
plots.
on the weekend.
Right, and then
got their sweet buzz
on.
on.
So there we sit. I've got teenagers in the woods going, yeah, let's hunt. They're like, why? We're not seeing any deer.
Right.
What? That's not fun. You sit in a tree stand 3 hours and stare at trees. It's just not fun.
Right.
You can only see so many blue jays and squirrels. And so if they're gonna keep it, then they need to limit it to 2 gallons. I totally agree, and put a fine system in place that if you break that 2 gallon limit, you're going to pay. You're going to pay dearly. I don't want to bankrupt people over some bait, but they're going to have to understand that it's not good. So, and then at the same time, if they're going to outlaw it, and I'll, whatever, then the same thing applies. Then they need to put in a fine system that's going to hurt. So the guys don't do it.
Give something with teeth.
Right.
Because
and
we have to get
nothing's going to happen.
Right. We have to get prosecutors on board with this and say, listen, this is serious. Okay, this is. If they deem that it's necessary to do this to keep the spread of disease, then prosecutors need to understand that it's serious. And I'm just going to use Illinois as an example. If you get caught baiting in Illinois, it's potentially a $10,000 fine and 90 days in jail. Well, let me tell you what, I'm not on my lease in Illinois. I'm not risking that.
No, not at all.
No. If you did and you got caught, you're probably not going to pay $10,000. You might, plead it down to $2,500 or whatever.
But it's going to come out of your pocket.
Yeah.
I'm not risking it.
Right.
Whereas in 2008, and the other thing that they do is if you get caught shooting a deer over that bait, that's now a illegally harvested poached deer, as if you shot it with a spotlight at night.
Right.
Okay. So that's the other thing. If in 2008 we went to John's Market in Newego during muzzle loading. We watched 25 bags of beets go out that door in 15 minutes. And it's a full-on statewide baiting ban. So,
listened well, didn't they?
Not illegal to sell it. That's
not
the
illegal
problem.
to sell it.
Right.
So,
right. And listen, you can't keep TSC from selling shelled corn. You can't.
Right.
But you can certainly. And I talked to one of the managers at TSC. He said, so if they outlaw this, we could still sell it. And I go, yeah, but I'm here to tell you, if it's outlawed and the DNR says this is detrimental to the spread, or if this is going to contribute to the spread of disease, and then I walk into TSC and see you guys have a whole bunch of deer stuff laying on your couch, or on your shelves, that's not going to bode well to me. It's not going to look good for TSC if they're going to continue to sell it. So
no, because they're just trying to make money and help. It's helping spread disease. So
exactly. And it'd be how about we take a break?
Have you got time to talk for a little while longer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. If you guys are good, we're good. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll step outside. We'll take another break, and we'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market, has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back. Second segment of the show. Third segment of the show. Oh, that's right. I can't count. Maybe I better watch out. I'll be shooting spikes and four corns instead of 6s and 8s and 10s.
Lord, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh.
So Lincoln, going back to what you saw in video, what you've been through in the last months of this year, because we'll skip last year, what happened. So we'll say we'll give you a start off new year, what you've been through with the meetings. What's your gut feeling as to what that commission is thinking? How do you think they're picking up what you're putting down and everybody else?
So here's the deal. All right. So, and I'm gonna call them out. So we have Rex Slaybaugh, Commissioner Slaybaugh. We have John Walters, and I tell you what, Mr. Walters, I have nothing but the utmost respect for you. When you were brought in as a commissioner, I was upset because we got a trout guy instead of a deer guy. Well, John is a deer and a trout guy. Okay, he understands. Worlds. Yes, and he's a diehard trout fisherman. He's a diehard deer hunter, and he understands deer management. And Rex understands deer management. J.R. Richardson, I believe, gets it. He understands where we need to go. So that's 3. Commissioner Tracy, I think he gets it. I just think I honestly don't know what the heck happened. All of a sudden derail, and so or to potentially derail. I just don't know. And I think that Louise Clark, Commissioner Clark, I think she understands the fact that without hunters being engaged, this isn't going to work. And I was a little bit surprised to hear her talk about genetics and that she didn't think that Michigan had the genetics, say, of Illinois. Well, that's not true. Michigan has some incredible genetics.
Somebody needs to walk around to some parts of the state to show them.
I know. There's some fantastic bucks killed every year. They just need to get some age on them. That's it.
Yeah.
And so I think she understands that. I think she gets it. And the other thing is, she talked about her farmer's hat last time.
Yeah, that's the comment that always kills me.
Yeah. So, but listen, as a farmer, if I sat down with a farmer and told him, said, listen, our goal is to lower deer densities in Michigan. Listen, there's not very many areas in Michigan that in the lower peninsula that don't have high densities. There just isn't. There's probably a few, but and we want to lower deer densities, and we want to manage for quality deer, quality bucks, quality deer, lower densities. Why would farmers not want to be on board with that?
I think you had the farmer at that point when you said lower densities.
Right. But yet they're fighting us because we're wanting to pass up some young bucks. They're like they don't understand the concept that if you take a person's ability to shoot a little buck off the table, they're going to shoot a doe. Mm-hmm. They're going to. It's not rocket science.
I really think you could put it to them in terms of what we talked about, a doe needing 5 pounds of food a day, right?
Right.
So if I shoot a couple of those, I'm going to save you 5 pounds a day on your whatever field.
Well, take it to this step. You mentioned
and then reducing on your property.
Yeah, right. Yeah, reducing the numbers on the property. But if you have better bucks to hunt, wait a minute, the farmer's going, I can lease my land to hunters now and make more money because there's big bucks here.
Yep.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, you talk about some offsetting some expense on say he's got a 160-acre farm to lease. Guys will pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, for good buck opportunities. So, So that's a win-win. And but the other problem is they don't seem to want to open up access to their land to let us shoot the does. So
right.
Anyway, and then so that's Commissioner Clark. I think she gets it, and then Commissioner Ponce. So I thought that she was totally on board, understanding that where we needed to go in this state, and she listened intently to all of the testimony. And then at the end, she scolded us for hijacking the narrative. Well, wait a minute. We didn't hijack anything. You're hijacking our narrative, Commissioner. You're hijacking the fact that the super majority of Michigan deer hunters want better deer hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So excuse the heck out of us for coming. You had guys taking days off of work because their commission meetings are on a Thursday, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get there. I mean, I would have been there. I couldn't be there. My career comes first.
Sure,
this is a hobby.
Sure.
My career comes first. I have to. So you had people taking time off from work to go testify in front of you, and you just slapped all these people in the face. I mean, I don't know how much more clear they could have been.
And you had Kip Adams coming from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Kip Adams
for 5 minutes. For 5 minutes.
Yeah, to talk to them for 5 minutes.
Right.
And and try to explain to them why this is so important in Michigan, and in order to keep hunters engaged. And so then she says, well, we hijacked the narrative, and it's about CWD, not APRs. Well, you know what? Yeah, you're right. It is. It's about CWD, mm-hmm. and it's about using APRs as a tool to keep people hunting. Because if you don't keep people hunting in the woods, guess what? We got a mess.
Yeah, it's trying to give an answer or a solution to help them achieve part of what they're trying to do.
Well,
because they want partners, they got a partner.
Well, that's it. That's the partners they want. They're I want to say pleading for partnerships with people, mm-hmm. and you get people to come and tell them that, and then they say whatever they might say, and it's like, well, why did you just slap me in the face?
Right.
But yet,
why did we bother?
They need some help. Let us help. Come.
Well, their own
PR plan is not the good one they got.
The questionnaires that they've sent out to the general public, they're getting 60% back pushing for APR, or said they were in favor of APRs. Is that right? Roughly?
Well, if you, it depends on how they do it. Okay, per their guidelines, mm-hmm. if you take what they do is they take those in support of and those opposed to, and they throw out the no opinions.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so every survey that's been done, when you do that, we're closer to probably 70% support.
Okay, so you got 70% of the people you would assume there are going to voice their opinion that this is something that they want because it's an open forum and they're asked to give their opinion.
Yep.
I would think. So
yeah.
You should expect more people to say that that's what they want than those that said no.
Well, there's a few that said no. They didn't want them, but and per the numbers, if you look at the amount of people that said they want them versus they didn't want them at the NRC meeting alone, I mean it's 80%, 90% maybe. I mean it's so very small sampling. I get it, but it's frustrating, and I just hope that, like I said, I hope that they heed the advice of deer professionals. I mean, Wayne Sitton has spoken with the commission, and he's on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely on the same page. He understands, that. Bye, honey. Love you. My granddaughter's saying goodbye. We're talking about deer. We're talking about deer hunting. So
all right.
She's gonna be a deer hunter.
There you go.
You better believe it.
Come over here, Key. Key, come here.
All right.
Yeah, bring her on.
Bring her on. And like Tony Smith says, 32% are against it.
Right.
Look at this beautiful girl.
That's the future of Michigan deer hunting right there.
Exactly. She wants to go deer hunting with Papa. So don't you?
Nothing wrong with that.
There you go.
So, all right.
A few short years.
All right. Love you. Bye.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So why I asked that question is so we still got time.
That's why I do what I do.
There you go. Exactly. That's why we do it. Whether you we want it to continue on.
That's why we're so passionate about it.
Right.
We want to give it to our kids, our grandkids, their kids.
Right. And you've seen me get choked up in front of the commission over this.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, exactly. the reason why I asked him about the members and where he thought they stood, because there's one more public hearing that you said is in August, I think.
Yep.
So people still got time to call the commissioners and say, and be nice about it and say, hey, I know you're whatever, but please,
right?
Yeah, and give them whatever. Don't. Be nice about it too.
Right.
Don't call them up.
Oh yeah, be respectful. And listen, I understand even the people that call me upset. The guy that called me, I had a guy call me at work, for crying out loud. Called me at work, my place of employment, because he didn't agree with the message I was putting forth. Well, you know what? That's fine. But be respectful, and we can communicate as human beings. And you can get your message across to the commissioners in a respectful, kind way. And be passionate. When people testify in front of the commission, I always say, maybe jot some notes down, but speak from your heart, because that's what they want to hear. They don't want to hear a detailed
formal letter.
Yeah. They want to hear somebody speak from their heart.
And if they can't pick up when people are talking from the heart and have passion about whatever they're talking about, then they shouldn't be in the public perception. Because if you can't pick up on somebody when they're talking passion, then it kind of worries me.
Right.
Well, kind of.
So I don't know. I guess to wrap that up, and to your point, Danny, is let's get on. Or I don't remember who said it, Mike or Danny. Well, anyway, call the commissioners. I mean, literally call them. And I'm not saying to forget about Rex and John, but key in. And one of my live feeds recently, I'm really encouraging people to pick up that phone and call the commissioners, because you email them. Email's great, letters are great, but they can toss some bad boys right in the trash.
Right.
I think that they need to hear our voices. They need to hear our passion, and they need to hear from us. And call them. Call Commissioner Pons, call Commissioner Clark, call Commissioner Tracy. Those should be the three key phone calls. And then listen, call Rex and John and say, thank you, man, thank you for standing up for us as hunters and what you're doing. Because I'm telling you, they are bringing it, and they want this badly for us. I believe. I mean, like I said, Commissioner Walters could be a moderator on our page. I mean, so call him up and say thank you, and to encourage them to keep going, because that's what keeps me going too, is when people and even all of our moderators, and people give that feedback and say, you guys are making a difference.
Exactly.
That's what keeps us going.
Adam Kemmer on the live feed says the next NRC meeting is August 9th at the Lansing Community College.
Yep.
So I'm assuming that's Thursday.
Yep.
So
it's always the first Thursday of the month, I think.
And they'll start at usually 9, 10, 11 o'clock, somewhere in there?
Yeah, they start in the morning, but it's really important to be there for the meeting of the whole, which is everybody, which usually I think starts at 12:30 right after lunch. So if you can't be there for the morning session, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Just get there for the afternoon session, and then sign up for your 3 minutes or your 5 minutes. If you sign up to speak the Friday prior to the meeting, you can get you have to email Cheryl Nelson. And if you Google the Michigan Department of Natural Resources or Natural Resource Commission, it'll come up. You'll probably come up with her email address. You email her and say, I'd like to be put in for 5 minutes at next month or at the next meeting. She'll log in, and then even if you don't get to doing that, then you can put in to speak right at the meeting, and you get 3 minutes then.
Okay. Yes, you get a sign that when you start talking, and then you get a sign. I watched that whole thing.
It was 1 minute, stupid.
Right.
Wrap it up.
It was kind of funny, and it was good. But
so if you do go, I would encourage people to show up to this meeting. I'm going to do it unless something earth-shattering happens. I'm going to be there. But this meeting is probably the most important meeting of Michigan deer hunting's history, and I'm not, even if we could get, just say we got APRs in those 13 counties, okay, that puts us 26 counties strong with antler point restrictions on the, basically the whole west side of the state, just about, except for maybe some of the southern counties. And then all of a sudden we get the thumb area proposal passed, because it's going to pass. It's going to.
And then get the TB zone.
and they get the TB zone. Why not just make the whole stinking lower peninsula and antler point restrictions? Why not do it now? Why not just make the whole lower peninsula?
You're getting there. Why not just go there?
Right. And it's very clear that this is what hunters want, and it's going to be used as a tool to keep hunters happy and engaged, at the same time helping to lower our deer numbers. It's a win-win. Farmers win, retailers win, hunters win, everybody wins. The state of Michigan wins. Our kids, our grandkids, the future hunters win.
That's it.
And maybe 10 years from now, we won't need APRs. Think of that.
Yeah, you start educating people.
Right.
And it comes naturally.
Right. They don't have APRs in Illinois,
Yep. It built into itself.
Right.
It's a
mindset. So anyway.
On the live feed, we've got Adam Kemmer. He put up the link to the Michigan Governor DNR. So the link's on what we're talking about. Let's see, what else we got here? Tony Smith. Rex also asked that any quota tags not purchased in a timely fashion be put back up for sale. Interesting.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, he did. So, yeah, any tags. So, okay, if we weren't meeting the quotas, that those additional tags would be put up for sale.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense. Okay.
All right. Yeah. So now I get it. Now I see what you're saying. Yeah. But and that's they get.
So I think the takeaway, guys, where we're at, we want. I'll just summarize it. We want the DNR, or Natural Resource Commission, DNR clearly isn't, but we want the commission to implement antler point restrictions for the lower peninsula.
For maintaining the health of the herd.
For maintaining the health of the herd. We want county by county DMUs. We want to be able to. We want a clear picture of what the doe harvest targets are. If it's Nuevo County again, if it's 5,000 animals, we need to know that, and then I am there's no reason there could not be an app put into place by this season. I mean, I know it's coming, but an app could be built and implemented. You could do a download fee of say $2 or $1 to download it to help pay for it and fund it.
Actually, you can put it. I don't know how that'd have to work, but it'd probably figure it out when you're buying your license. To pay that extra $1,
right?
Gives you the automatic. You download it,
give you a code or something.
Give you a code to plug in or whatever. Yeah, so
but
however you want to do it. But I'd be willing to pay for it.
Right.
I mean, why wouldn't you? It'd be an incredible tool, and then it could be expanded on. I mean, it could be expanded on into the entire state, every county, DMUs. It could be used for buck harvest. When you scan that tag, you say, I mean, I know that Michigan has a great system. They really do. The survey system is very good. It's solid. It's sound. But clearly there's some people that don't trust it in the state, like most hunters. So I think it would bring some validity to their deer numbers. And if there has to be a margin of error built into that, which there would have to be because you're going to have noncompliance.
Sure.
There always is with everything.
Yeah, at least hunters would know about, they would know. I mean, and then it brings that much more transparency of the department and helps guys to feel like they're being part of the solution. So
that's there you go again, being part of the hunt.
Yep. So I guess that's in a nutshell. That's where we're at.
Well, I'll tell you what, before we let you go, tell everybody where they can get over to Michigan Deer Hunters. Let them go. Give your site a plug.
Yeah, Michigan. It's if you go on Facebook and you punch in Michigan Deer Hunters -Let Them Go and Let Them Grow, it'll come up. You have to answer 3 questions. Do you support antler point restrictions in Michigan? Do you hunt in Michigan? And if you don't support antler point restrictions, would you be willing to learn more about antler point restrictions? And if you answered yes to all 3 of those, or if you say no and you're still willing to learn, you're in. And then we start the education process.
Right.
So we have over 30,000 members, and we're going to be growing. The closer to deer season we get, we're already seeing it. We're getting more and more requests every day. I wouldn't be surprised if we're at over 40,000 for by deer season. The moderators, we have 10 people moderating now, and they're gearing up because it can get crazy sometimes. So come on in, check us out. And we also have a website, It's called Michigan Deer Hunters. LetThemGo.com. So check it out.
There you go. All right.
You know, and one comment from Tony Smith. Chad's presentation included that the department saw no benefit or detriment to including APRs in the CWD-13.
Bingo.
So why not?
Bingo.
But yet you hit a guy 10 feet away say, no, let's not do that.
Right. Let's do, no, not only that, let's do the opposite.
Right.
In which has already been proved in the 5-county CWD current core zone that it didn't work. They removed antler point restrictions from both tags and guys shot fewer does. Why? Well, because they can shoot 2 small bucks now.
Right.
Right.
And
I mean, rocket science is rocket science. You don't. I don't know. I'm just going with that.
In the Northwest 12, doe harvest numbers went up.
Right.
With APR. So there you go.
And you know what? We hear a lot of pushback. Well, they really spiked that first year. Well, that's good because that's going to take your herd numbers and it's going to reduce them. So your overall herd numbers are going to be down.
Right.
So,
and that's what they want.
Right.
Yep,
and we're going to be, we're in along the way. We do need to, we need to shoot some more does. We need to drop our densities. And I get a lot of people saying, well, we don't have enough does in our areas. Well, then that's up to you. That's up to you to know your herd and
lay off
then don't shoot any does.
Right.
Where I hunt in Nuevo, we're to the point where we had to put up electric fences around our food plots to get them to grow. So we needed to shoot some does.
Been there, done that. Yep.
Yeah, we shot 8 does off our property last year, but I'm telling you, they got me scared. If they implement the unlimited everything, shoot 17 different seasons, and we're going to be shooting deer with guns in October, then I'm just done. So I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. So
don't blame you. Well, I tell you what, we're going to let you go. We spent an hour here with you, and you enjoy the rest of your weekend and keep fighting a good fight for us, man.
I appreciate it, guys. And, and again, to you guys, I so much, and I know all of our followers do so much appreciate the opportunity to be on, your show and help to spread this message. And you guys are making a difference also. We appreciate it, okay?
Thanks, man. It's spreading the good word and educating. That's what it's all about.
And I love shooting the breeze with you guys. It's awesome.
All the time.
Right on.
A couple of good dudes, so all right?
All right, man. You take care.
Okay. All right. See you guys.
Yep. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yep, bye.
All right. We're going to step outside, take a break, and we'll be right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at psearchery.com.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back. Last segment of the show. We sent Lincoln off to enjoy the rest of a Sunday evening. And we got a few minutes here, short minutes here to talk and wrap up the show. What do you want to talk about as you sit there and one finger type again?
I'm just acknowledging people that are tuning in.
All right.
Did you see the buck that I posted on Facebook?
Yeah, I had to look at it like this.
I took him sideways, and then I put them all together. I'm like, you know what? But he finally showed up.
Yeah.
It's been all summer.
He was just chilling out.
He finally showed up. That's the first buck of the year, which is, like I said, I've talked about this.
Yep.
Last year, I had 5 bucks the whole entire year. Just
right.
I mean, they wouldn't go but 10 feet and lay down. Mm-hmm. This year, there's no bucks, and he was the first one that finally came in. And I think he's the 9-point from last year.
Okay.
I think I got to watch his body a little bit more, but he's not that afraid of me, so he might be one of the younger guys.
Yeah. Well, he knows where his bread's buttered at.
Well, so I'm thinking he's one of the younger guys. He might not be the 9-point then. The 9-point didn't stick around too much for me when I walked out.
Right.
But this guy did, so I'm thinking he's one of the locals from last year that got used to me going out there.
Right.
And he let me walk up, as you can see the pictures.
Yeah.
I wasn't but 25 feet, if that, from him. So I was excited to see him. I'd like to see, he's got 2 more months of growing on him to see where he ends up.
You know, something interesting.
And he's safe, so don't worry about it.
Speaking about antler growth, I had the opportunity this week to go to, knock your head into the mic there.
Wow. Yes, you did.
I went over to Conquest Scents. They make deer lures and deer scent.
And we talked to them at ATA.
Yeah, talked to them at ATA. And actually, everybody on the podcast and the live stream, you're going to be able to see the story that I did over there for On the Trail. It's actually airing tonight for those of you here locally, Channel 12, 11 o'clock.
And probably tomorrow you can go on the Channel 12 website and pick up the link.
Yeah,
that
or I'll transfer it over to our Facebook page and Twitter page. So as soon as it gets put to our webpage, I'll push that over. But talking with Doug Roberts, the owner, I learned something. You know, I mean, we've talked with Dr. James Crow, talked to Grant Woods, we've talked with Wayne and Luke, we went to the deer health checks, we talked with Lincoln, did the Deer Steward 1 thing, you know, been to all these seminars and things, and I learned something new.
What'd you learn?
He said at this time of the year, obviously it's the height of the antler growing season, and he explained part of the reason why you see this big push in June, July, and August. A typical deer will push about an inch of antler a day.
That's what I've heard, about an inch a day.
Okay. When it gets extremely hot, like it has been here in Michigan, you know, high 80s, low 90s, high humidity, what happens when you're outside in those temperatures and you're working or you're just doing what you're doing? What happens to you?
Well, you start sweating a lot.
Yeah, your blood pressure goes
up. And
then
as your body heats up, your blood pressure starts building.
Same thing with deer. Their blood pressure increases in this hot, high humidity situation that they're in. And with that, blood pumps harder and faster. So in turn, it pushes more blood through the body up into the velvet. It's faster and pushes with more force. So it's pushing that calcium up so that they get a bigger push at that time. He said sometimes he's seen as much as 2.5 inches of growth a day.
Oh, wow.
2.5.
But there is a drawback to that, right?
There is a drawback. When you say, okay, well, we've got these days that are hot and humid. Right now, here in Michigan, there's no rain. We haven't had rain in a month.
Yeah, not down here. Up north, different story, but down here.
So those conditions, in turn, if they keep progressing towards September-ish, EHD.
Yep.
There's good, there's bad.
And right now, so far, according to your weatherman over there, which I think it was him, some places are at moderate drought up in the thumb.
Yep.
And across that zone. We're not section. Into a drought yet here.
Not in Genesee County, but from from Genesee County north to the middle of the state, we're starting to get in some drought conditions.
Now,
we need some rain.
I know just north of West Branch last night, they had some thunderstorms rolling through, and Friday night too. So I don't know if it was enough to get that, but well, 2 inches a day.
2 inches,
with some nice bucks out there.
Oh my Lord, yes, some beautiful bucks. I've seen them all the way from fawn to 1.5, 2.5, 3.5-year-old bucks.
Did he have to say what his oldest buck or oldest deer was out there?
I seen one 4.5 out there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I wonder what his oldest deer he's ever had there at the.
I don't know. But we're hopefully. I did some talking with him after we shot the story, and hopefully we're going to get him on the show to talk a little bit about his setup there.
Yep.
And how they run that process,
well,
and how it relates to CWD.
Exactly.
That's what we've been talking about a lot lately is CWD.
You know, and we're doing the educational route about all this stuff. So
yep.
Because they always, he runs a deer farm.
Yep.
Doing what he needs to do, and they get a black eye. But
yep.
Do they go through the proper steps to receive that black eye?
Right. That's the thing. Is it justified or is it unjustified? Right. And some of the questions I asked him, I'm not gonna give away the answers right here. I want him to be able to say it because I was enlightened. It was very eye opening to some of the things that he told me. So
it'd be good to get that out because yes, in all aspects of business there are the shady characters.
Absolutely.
And sure, do they move deer at night?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Blah blah blah.
So.
Love to get them on.
So yeah, that was probably the highlight of my week was going out there and spending about 3.5 hours out there at Conquest Farms.
Sweet.
Which is here local. It's right here in my back door. And actually, my dad actually owned property across the road from it. So that was kind of interesting.
Okay. Okay.
I remember when they had elk there. So one time they had elk. But other than that, just been shooting a bow. And as we wrap up the show, I brought in 2 arrows tonight. I wanted to ask you something about these. You and I briefly talked about this, and I'm going to throw this out there to you viewers and listeners on the podcast. But those of you on the podcast, you're not going to be able to see what I'm talking about. But here, hang on to that one there. Talking about the nock on the end of the arrow. And these are Carbon Express. This is the Maxima SDs that I shoot with my target setup.
And these are the pile drivers you're shooting out of your hunting setup. Right.
And something I noticed shooting, doing some on the target bow, that the nock has a little bump. And I don't know if you can see this. We tried this earlier just to test this out, but I'm going to hold this up in front of the camera. And if you look on top of that, let me see if I can get this right. On top of the nock, you can see just a little tiny bump there.
Just a little bump. Your thumb or finger can pick that up.
Fingertip. Yeah, almost like a braille nock.
Yep.
Or a braille bump on paper. It's about that size. And I got thinking, I said, what is that there for? Is that part of the machining process or the molding process? I'm like, you'd think they would file that off or take that off.
That's pretty good.
There you
go. You would think, almost looking at it, it's a molded piece. Maybe that was a connector or something like that.
Where they did the injection molding. But what I kind of thought, and what I've done is it's on the top on the flat part there. So I'm using that to index my arrows when I pull them out of my quiver. I've turned them all so when I grab a hold, I can feel with my finger or my thumb and figure out which side that bump's on, and automatically rotate it to index it correctly.
To be on your thumb.
So the cock feather is up.
Yep.
And that's what I went and did with all of my arrows. And I'm wondering, is that what it's there for? I don't know. Or is it just part of the molding process?
Well, you know what? Tentatively scheduled, we're going to get Alex Tate on from Carbon Express, and I bet you that's one of the things we can ask him.
I'm sure we could.
Coming in August.
He might say, crazy guys, it's just part of the molding process.
He might.
But, I don't know. I was thinking, I said, there's got to be, a reason for it being there, obviously.
I'm sure there is, because we noticed them not just on one, or they're consistent.
Yeah, very consistent. So
between this is the pile driver, that's the Maximas. These are both SDs. No, this one's a regular DS.
So the more you shoot, and the more little tiny things you start noticing, the more things make you go, huh?
Right, exactly. So, that's shooting just isn't knocking an arrow and letting it fly downrange.
Right. So just wondering, if you guys know, let us know. Make a comment, shoot us an email, what have you. So,
right.
But I tell you what, we're going to wrap up the show. We're running a little long here tonight, so I want to thank everybody that was on the live stream tonight, checking it out, putting in comments, and
give us a like, give us a share. Thanks. We do this every week because, it's a passion.
It's a passion, and it's we're pushing on. This is episode 472, I believe, and it's we're
on the downhill slide to 500.
Yeah, I was laying in bed the other night thinking, okay, what's after that?
600, 550, 600.
Yeah, but I mean, how long?
750.
I'm gonna do this as long as I feel good and I'm able to.
10,000.
We'll see. So, but that's all I got for the week. Anything else?
You know what? That's all I got.
Gonna be shooting in Toledo.
Toledo's next weekend. We should be shooting there.
Anybody want to go? Let us know.
And
Saturday and Sunday.
Tentatively scheduled. We're gonna have another interview
next week.
Yep.
So we won't tell you who it is. Let it be a surprise.
Got to be a surprise.
So other than that, that'll do it for us this week, folks. And we'll hang on here on the live stream, but we're going to sign out on the podcast right now. So y'all take care. Get out there, get them bows out, start shooting, and get ready for hunting season because it's just around the corner. We'll be back again next week. And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Winsent Hunting Scents,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Twisted Minds Bowstrings,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Antler Action,
and Family Traditions Tree Stands.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.